I'm Grace. So let's get started. I'm a recipe blogger, family taught home chef. Cheers.
Cheers.
iPhone only photographer and proud New Englander. A New England staple, it's clams on the half shell, it's bacon, it's butter, it's crispy breadcrumbs. It's hard not to eat the whole batch yourself. I just can't get enough of these things. I want them every day of the week. The briny, sweet clam and then stuffed with smoky bacon and buttery panko breadcrumbs that are just crispy and fabulous. Oh, they're so poppable. I'm drooling. So before you get started washing your clams and doing all the clam things, you need to prep all your other ingredients. I have all my veggies. I have some bacon that I just cooked off in a pan. That's important to get everything ready before you work on your clams. And now that I did that, let's go grab the clams. I have the freshest little neck clams of New England here. Obviously, the fresher the clams, the better the Clams Casino. And I like little neck clams because they're little and they're extra sweet and just really tender, so really, really good for Clams Casino. So we need to wash our clams, and this is what we want to do. They're very dirty, they're they're very nice and sandy on the outside and actually on the inside. So what you want to do is you want to just examine and make sure that the clam doesn't have any broken shell, it looks intact, and it's completely closed. That means it's a healthy clam. If it isn't, you want to toss it. You don't want to take a risk. And then you just want to rinse it under cold water. And then you want to just pop it into water here. And the key is you want to add a little bit of salt into your water, a generous amount, and give it a nice stir. And the salt will actually help the clams expel the sand inside of them. We don't want sandy clams. It's disgusting. So we're gonna keep going. Inspect, rinse, and then put in that salty water. Hello. You wanna let your clams be for about 20 to 30 minutes. Let them expel all their sand and get nice and clean for you. Meanwhile, we're gonna work on those breadcrumbs. Any good Clams Casino has a lot of butter in it, and that's exactly what we're doing. We're gonna be toasting our panko breadcrumbs in lots of butter. So we wanna put our pan on medium heat, put the butter in the pan, boop, and let it melt, and then we're gonna add the rest of our ingredients. As I mentioned, panko breadcrumbs, which are extra crispy and crunchy, so I really like them in Clams Casino. And we're also going to add in some shallots that are finely chopped, just for a little texture. And then garlic, of course. And you're just going to give this a nice toss and just toast your breadcrumbs for about 4 to 6 minutes until they're light golden brown. Oh, the smell of butter and garlic. Can't get better. This is what we want. Beautifully light golden and crunchy and crispy. Now time to add the rest of our ingredients. So you want to turn your heat down to low heat, and we're gonna add in about half of a lemon, just zested, just the zest, not the juice. And this is just gonna give the taste of the lemon, but not the acidity. Then some finely chopped red bell pepper, and this is really classic in your Clams Casino. It's gonna add nice sweetness and crunch. Our bacon that we already cooked, add smokiness. And then I have some scallions that I also finely chopped. All of them go in, and we're just gonna toss this around until it's warmed. We don't wanna cook off the peppers because we're gonna actually cook them completely in the oven. Just want to add however much salt you like, and then I like a lot of pepper, but it's up to you. Now that everything's warmed up, you're just gonna set your breadcrumbs aside, and we're gonna go grab our clams. Ooh. Quality assurance. Secret trick for tender, juicy clams every time: wine. Can't go wrong with wine. You're gonna use like a Sauv Blanc or a Pinot Grigio, and you just want to add a thin layer of wine on a baking sheet. It doesn't need to be like, you know, swimming in it, but just a thin layer, just like that, about a cup or so of wine. And then you're gonna add your clams on your baking sheet with the wine. And what's gonna happen is the clams are going to steam a bit in this wine as they cook under the broiler, and it'll retain its juices a lot better. Here's the trick. Put your oven on broil, and then place your baking sheet in the oven. Be careful, because it's hot, very, very hot. And you're gonna let these guys broil until they pop open. When they pop open, that means that they're cooked. And as they pop open, you're gonna take them off the baking sheet with some tongs. They're gonna pop open all at different times. I'll show you what I mean. I just saw one popped open. Quite exciting. All the way in the back. So I'm just gonna take tongs, be very careful. Place that one on another baking sheet and then shut the oven and wait for the rest. Let's get a close up. Look how beautiful. Oh, so yum. You might be wondering why you have to take them out right when they pop open. It's just to keep them nice and juicy. Once they pop open, they're cooked. You don't want to overcook them and keep them in for too long. They're open. Make sure to toss any that don't open naturally. You don't want to try to pry them open. So once they've cooled enough to touch, this is the process. You're going to take that top shell right off, just snap it off. And then you're going to take a fork and you're just going to loosen the clam just like that. So that way it's easy for somebody to take the clam out when they're eating it. And you're just gonna put it right on the baking sheet, just like that. Of course, I didn't forget about the breadcrumbs, the best part. I'm just taking a heaping teaspoon, piling those breadcrumbs right on top of our clams. It's okay if some falls on the wine. We're one step away. Last step. Put these in the broiler for another 1 to 3 minutes until they're nice and golden brown on the top and hot. Voila! Isn't it beautiful? No more talking. It's time to eat. Absolutely divine. Smokiness of the bacon, the beautiful sweet clams. You can taste a little bit of the wine, the crispy panko. How am I not gonna eat all of this by myself? Check this out on tastefullygrace.com. You won't regret it. You want to leave them be for 20 to 30 minutes to let them expel all of their sand. I need to